Hi everyone, welcome to the first of a couple volume videos. We're going to go over some formulas and how to find the volume of a couple different shapes. This video is going to be on cylinders and on cones. So before we get into the formula, I want to go over kind of just the idea of where that formula comes from and why we use it. So first let's talk about cylinders. So I've got just a picture of a cylinder here. Pretty basic dimensions. I've got a radius of 10 centimeters and a height of 1 centimeter. So if I wanted to know the volume of this object, well, our volume tells us we take the area of the base and how tall it is, right? So we need to know the area of this circle, and then we multiply it by 1 for this object. So if I want to know the volume of one of these, I'm going to take pi r squared, that's the volume of the circle, pi r squared, and then I have to multiply that by 1, right? 1 centimeter. That's not going to change the value. So my my volume is going to be 100 pi. Okay, but what if I want to stack another one on? I want to create more volume, right? So if I were to copy this exact shape and then pile it right on top, so now I have an object that's 2 centimeters high, right? 2 because I've stacked one on top of the other. Well, if I want to find the volume of that new shape, or 2 of these cylinders, we're going to, again, take the area of the base, 100 pi, and now I'm multiplying it by 2 because the new height's 2. Similar idea if I wanted to stack it 3 times. So I've got 1, I stack it another, and then a third time. My new height would be 3 centimeters, right? So that new volume would be the 100 pi, and then now times 3. I've got 3 of those kind of discs, okay? We can do something really similar if the base is a triangle. So what if I have a triangular prism, okay? So my base here is a right triangle. So if I want the area of that, that's going to be 1/2 base times height. Now the reason I used those two is because when I have a right triangle, my base and my height create the right angle, okay? But that's just the area of the triangle. Then I have to add in this dimension, but it's just 1, so I just multiply it by 1. Then if I have the same shape, but I want to pile another one on top, so these are like building blocks, I'm going to put another one on top. Now this object has the same base, but it's 2 centimeters high, right? So I would take this area right here, 1/2, 3 times 4, that's going to be 6. But now I'm going to multiply it by 2. So you could think of this as like a block has a volume of 6, and then if I pile another one on top, the new volume is twice that, or 12. So the reason for going over that is just to show you why our formulas are the way they are. So for any prism, like a rectangular prism or a cube, our volume is going to be the area of the base, whatever shape that is, times the height of that 3D object. Okay? So for this video, we're going to go over cylinders. That's going to be the area of the base times the object of the height. But for cylinders, it's special because our base is a circle, right? So this is going to be for the area of the base, that's pi r squared, and then we still have the height of the object. Okay. And then for cones, something special happens. A cone is 1/3 the volume of a cylinder with the same base. Okay, so this is going to be 1/3 area of the base times height. And for circles, that's going to look like 1/3. Remember, the base, a circle, is pi r squared, and then again times the height of the object. So we just need those 2 formulas for this video. We'll move on to pyramids in the next. Okay, so I'm going to move this over, and we are going to get started. We'll start with cylinders. And sometimes your answer needs to be to the nearest hundredth, sometimes the nearest tenth, sometimes in terms of pi. It really just depends. So first, let's practice rounding our answers to the nearest hundredth. So if you're following along, you can write these examples down. We're going to start with this cylinder right here. So my volume formula is pi r squared times the height. Okay, so I need the radius. Uh-oh, we only have the diameter here, so I have to cut that in half. So my radius is going to be half, or 11. Okay, so I'm halfway done. I've got pi times 11 squared, and then I need to know the height of the object. That's 20. Okay, so they took this circle, 22 centimeter diameter, and they raised it or multiplied it 22 times. It's like you're stacking something 20 times. Okay, so now we just need to do our math here. I'm going to get my handy dandy calculator out, and I'm going to plug this into my calculator. So I've got pi times, and then in parentheses, 11 squared. I'm just going to do 11 times 11. And then I'm going to multiply that by 20. Okay, so we're rounding this to the nearest hundredth place. So that means 5 should be my last number in my answer. So the volume is going to be 7,602.65. Do not forget your units, centimeters cubed, because it's volume. Okay, let's try it again. This one right here, we've got a base with a radius of 4. So I know I'm going to use pi times 4 squared. And then the height of this object is 15. Okay, so let's use our calculator. We've got pi times 4 squared, I know that's 16, and then times 15. So my answer is 753.98 inches cubed. And that's our volume. Okay. Now, if we have pi in our answer for this next set of instructions, okay, it says leave your answers in terms of pi for answers that contain it. So we will definitely have that since we have circles. So let's try this next one. It's a cylinder on its side. We've got a radius of 6, so we've got pi times 6 squared. And even though it's on its side, if this cylinder were sitting on this base, the height would be 19, so times 19. Okay, careful here. We are not multiplying pi because we're leaving the answer in terms of pi. So what we're going to have as an answer is some number pi. That means I need to square 6 and times 19. So I've got 36 times 19. That is 684 pi. Again, don't forget your units. Feet cubed. Okay, so that's the volume. A little easier because we didn't have to write any decimals. And one more in terms of pi. So we've got a radius of 9. So I've got pi times 9 squared. And then this height is 5. So my calculator, I'm just going to do 9 squared times 5 and then write pi. So I've got 81 times 5. My answer is 405 pi kilometers cubed. So that's pretty much it for cylinders. Just be careful with diameters versus radii, and you should be okay. Let's move on to cones. So this formula is very similar, but we've got to add that 1/3 into the formula. Don't forget the 1/3 if it's a cone. First two, we're going to round our answers to the nearest hundredth place. Okay, so number 5, we need first, let's talk about the base. We've got a base of 24 as a diameter. I'm going to assume that's diameter because it points to the middle. And we need to divide that by 2 to get the radius. So that's 12 inches for a radius. Okay, so my base area, capital B, is pi r squared, right? And then the height of this object is 24. Now we can plug it into our formula. So remember, a cone is 1/3 area of the base times the height of the object. Okay, we're ready to go to our calculator. So I have got 1/3. We can just divide by 3 at the end to do 1/3. So I'm going to plug in, let's see, pi times, well, 12 squared is 144, times, and then the height was 24. And then to do the 1/3, I'm just going to divide by 3. Okay, so my answer is going to be 1,206.37, and this is inches cubed. Okay, one more when we're going to round, and then we'll try some with pi. So we've got another cone here. Again, we've got the diameter, so don't forget to rewrite the radius. That's 10 yards, it's half. I know the area of my base, so this circle right here is pi r squared. And then I know the height of the object is 20. Okay, let's go to our formula. 1/3 area of the base, which is a circle, height of the object. Now I'm ready for my calculator. Okay, so I've got 10 squared, that's 100. So I'm going to do pi times 100, and then times 20, and divide by 3 because it's 1/3. That makes my volume 2,094 oops, we're going to round it, so it's 0.40, and then yards cubed. So I rounded that to 0.40. Make sure you do that. Okay, last two we are going to have in terms of pi. So we've got number 7 here. Same work, we're just not multiplying out pi. So I've got a radius of 12, so the area of the base is pi times 12 squared. The height of the object, even though it's upside down, is 24. Okay, so when I write my answer in terms of pi, I'm going to have 12 squared times 24. Let's do that in our calculator. 144 times 24. So my volume is 3,456 pi, and then kilometers cubed. And I just did that all on my calculator. All right, last one, cone on its side. I've got a radius of 1. So pi times 1 squared is my area of my base. The height of the object. Careful, if this is the base, then this is the height perpendicular to it. So the height is 4. Okay? Since it's a cone, I know it's 1/3 area of the base times height. Okay, and I want to leave pi. So I'm going to multiply all the other numbers. I've got 1/3 times 1 times 4. So when I multiply those all out, 1/3 times 4 times 1, just multiply across, so I get 4/3. Don't forget your units, it's yards cubed. Okay, so we have gone over the volume of cylinders and cones. And then if you guys watch the next video, we'll move on into pyramids. Thanks so much for watching, guys.